Hi, this is Howie Singer,
And Bill Rosenblatt.
authors of Key Changes, the 10 Times Technology Transformed the Music Industry.
You're listening to the Your Morning Coffee podcast with our friends Jay Gilbert and Mike Etchart.
Weekly music news for the new music business.
From Nathan Brackett at Rolling Stone, TikTok's AI text-to-song trend may be a sign of music to come.
And from Eric Frankenberg over at Billboard, the mid-year box score report shows growth. But has it finally slowed down?
And from Hannah Collard over at Media, clipping campaigns, marketing's next move in a fragmented attention economy.
And from Rachel Scharf, again over at Billboard, a full list of music-related legislation before Congress right now. Lots of important stuff there, Jay. Plus an audio drop from Lior Tibon over at Duetti. We're glad you're here. We're going to start the show right about now.
Stand by for transmission.
This is London calling.
Wake up! The revolution is at hand! Your morning coffee is on the air. On the air, on the air, on the air, on the air, on the air.
Standing by.
Your morning coffee, the weekly music news for the new music business. It's the highly curated, agitated, advocated, moderated, and liberated digital music information that you need to know. We are your digital music authority. And now from our studios in Hollywood, California, here's your hosts, Jay Gilbert and Mike Etchart.
Well, here we are, Jay. It is good to see you, brother. We've been chatting for a little bit.
Yeah, good to see you too.
We're ready to start our week and a lot of interesting stories and cool stuff to talk about. And you, my friend, are going to be on the road pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Indie Week, A2IM's Indie Week in New York. That's June 8th through the 11th. And I'll be recording a live podcast episode with Zena White. She's the COO over at Partisan Records. Really looking forward to that conversation.
Yeah, that'll be fun. By the way, if you don't know about Indie Week, it is created by independents for independents. It is a 3-day conference uniquely tailored to the needs of the independent music community in the United States. And as we were talking before we actually hit record, that is one big group of people.
Yeah, it sure is.
Group.
Yeah.
Enormous. Well, Jay, before we get rolling, I say we got to thank our sponsors, including our good friends over at Hypebot. Since 2004, Hypebot has chronicled the new music industry and the trends and technologies that are changing how music is discovered, consumed, marketed, and monetized. It is founded by our friend Bruce Houghton. Hypebot is edited by touring artist and publisher Jeremy Young and supported by live music discovery and marketing platform Bands in Town.
Yeah, we love Bands in Town. Now over 100 million live music fans trust Bands in Town to get personalized concert alerts, recommendations, and messages from their favorite artists. It's the #1 artist services platform. It connects over 700,000 artists with their super fans. So managers, labels, agencies, and artists, they access their own dashboard to manage and promote their tour dates to music fans all over the world across all platforms. And now Apple Music has concert listings via Bands in Town.
Indeed, and every week I get to hang out with Jay Gilbert, music business consultant, educator, curator of the weekly Your Morning Coffee newsletter, and a former executive with Universal Music, Sony Music, and Warner Music Groups, and somebody I have hung out with for damn near 20. I don't even want to say the number, Jay.
It's been a long time, back when we were children. And I get to do this show every week with my good friend Mike Etchart, music freak, longtime host of Sound Vision Radio, formerly of SST Records, Warner Music, Capital EMI, and Universal Music Groups.
All right. Well, let's get to the stories. The first from Nathan Brackett over at Rolling Stone. TikTok's AI text-to-song trend may be a sign of music to come. So this article, which of course is written by Nathan Brackett, uses a viral TikTok trend as a lens to examine what AI music tools could mean for the broader music industry.
Yeah, so what's the trend this article talks about? Well, everyday users, not musicians, are pasting text message conversations into Suno, that's that AI music generator, of course, and turning them into songs. This is so great. I don't know if you've seen some of these, but they're really fun. For example, a travel agent named Justice Washam went viral, turning her daughter's text into an Avril Lavigne-style pop-punk song, and it racked up 9.8 million views on TikTok. You know, others have done the same with texts from bossy coworkers and bad dates and panicked friends. The format is inherently relatable and shareable, which is exactly why it spreads.
Yeah. So the question, of course, is why does this matter to the music industry? Well, the trend drove Suno's downloads to quadruple week over week in April, briefly making it the top music app in the US and the UK app stores. This is happening while Suno, of course, is still in a legal battle with two major record labels over how its AI model was trained. So the viral momentum is a significant PR win for the company, despite the legal cloud hanging over it.
Right. So here are a few key takeaways from this article. The biggest idea the article raises is the emergence of a new category, the consumer creator. Industry analyst Olivia Jones from Media Research draws a distinction between professional musicians and hobbyists who use AI tools purely for fun and self-expression with no intention of going pro. This is a genuinely new audience that the music industry has never had to account for before.
No, but what that raises, of course, is a competitive concern that shouldn't be dismissed, even if the consumer creators aren't trying to compete with recording artists. They may end up doing so anyway. TikTok is one of the primary ways new music gets discovered today. And if user-generated AI content increasingly fills that space, it could gradually displace professional artists in the attention economy. That Jones's phrase is worth remembering: a rise in creation competing for consumption time.
Yeah, so Suno CPO Jack Brody, he pushes back with an optimistic analogy. Smartphone cameras didn't kill professional photography or filmmaking. They just created an entirely new category. Like short-form video, Hollywood blockbusters still exist. His argument is that AI music tools will coexist, not replace professional musicians.
Yeah, an interesting point. The article flags unresolved copyright questions. So some creators are already uploading their AI-generated songs to Spotify, even though ownership and rights around Suno-generated content remain legally murky, shall we say. That's a thread this industry will be untangling for years.
Yeah, it sure will. So the bottom line of the story is that the trend may look like a novelty, but it signals something structurally important. AI is lowering the barrier to music creation so dramatically that the line between listener and creator is dissolving. That changes the competitive landscape, the distribution landscape, and eventually the legal landscape for everyone in this business. I watched some of those videos and they were really good.
It's so clever. It's so clever.
Yeah.
Our next story, it's by Hannah Collart over at Media. Clipping campaigns, marketing's next move in a fragmented attention economy. So what are they talking about? Well, this article exposes a marketing tactic called clipping campaigns, a strategy where thousands of social media accounts are coordinated to flood platforms with short video clips promoting an artist, product, or moment.
Yeah, we've been talking about this a lot lately with all the news of, geese and chaotic good. And, companies like Floodify, organize these efforts. The goal is to manufacture the appearance of a viral moment, tricking algorithms into amplifying the content further. The Floodify founder estimates 90% of what you see online is a result of campaigns like this.
Wow. Of course. So what's the impact for music? Well, clipping has become standard practice even for major artists. This article notes that artists like Justin Bieber use these campaigns to get their sets to go viral. Now, as you may notice or think, this raises an uncomfortable question for emerging artists. If you're not paying for it, are you being left behind?
Right. So here are a few key takeaways from this piece. Number one, virality is often manufactured, not organic. Shocker. What looks like a grassroots cultural moment on TikTok or Instagram is frequently the result of a coordinated paid promotion at costs as low as $1 per thousand. Number two, algorithms are the target, not the audience. Clipping works by gaming platform algorithms to create a flywheel of social proof, which then attracts real organic attention.
Right. And don't forget, virality doesn't equal fandom. This article makes a crucial distinction. Clipping can generate awareness and streams, but it doesn't build the deep fan relationships that actually sell tickets and sustain careers. So, of course, the playing field is unequal. Smaller independent artists are competing against major label acts who have clipping budgets. This is a real structural challenge in today's music industry.
Right. A few more takeaways. Number five, authenticity is becoming a strategic differentiator. As clipping becomes more widespread and audience grow more aware of it, trust erodes. The article argues that the smarter long-term move, especially for smaller creators, is to offer what clipping can't manufacture, genuine connection with an audience.
Yeah, well, and if you're getting into this, don't forget, regulation is coming. Platforms and governments will likely crack down on undisclosed promotional content, similar to influencer sponsorship labeling laws that we've seen already.
Right. And finally, here's the question. If clipping can make an artist go viral, but fandom is what sells tickets, where should an indie artist focus their limited marketing budget? Really interesting piece.
Isn't that the question? I just bumped into a couple of independent artists just in the last week. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the big question that I always get asked is, I've got a little teeny bit of money. Where should I put it? What will have the most impact? And it's an ongoing and always the question when you're an independent artist.
Yeah.
Our next story by Eric Frankenberg over at Billboard. The mid-year box score report shows growth, but has it finally slowed down? So the big picture, the top 50 tours collectively grossed $2.7 billion and sold almost 21 million tickets. That's up about 8.5% from the same period last year. Growth is real, but modest. The era of explosive post-pandemic touring growth appears to be over, replaced by a steadier single-digit gains.
Yeah, and the article points out, well, who's on top today? Lady Gaga's The Mayhem Ball Tour. That sort of leads with $236 million, the highest mid-year gross in box score history since tracking began in 1991. Lady Gaga. She got there not by the highest ticket prices, but by sheer volume. 52 shows in 6 months at an average of $204 per ticket. But let's take a look at Bad Bunny's world tour. That came in just behind at $230 million. Importantly, this is the first time two acts have cleared the $200 million mark in the same mid-year period. The year before, no single artist had ever reached $150 million.
But there's a top-heavy problem. Below the top two, the chart gets noticeably thinner. Paul McCartney and Shakira ranked third and fourth, but each earned less than half of Gaga and Bad Bunny's totals. Fewer tours are crossing major revenue thresholds compared to prior years. Only 5 $100 million-plus tours in 2026 versus 6 back in 2025 and 8 in 2024. The industry is increasingly concentrated at the very top.
Yeah, and the article points out a little good news that ticket prices are actually falling. Average ticket prices among the top 50 tours have now dropped 2 years in a row, from $147 average in 2024 to $139 in 2025 to $130 this year. Industry insiders attribute this to more price-conscious consumers, high touring costs, and broader economic pressures. But one executive quoted in the article predicted a correction is coming.
Oof, you never want to hear that. Correction is coming. Well, the article points out venue size matters. This is a critical insight for any student studying the business side of music. Larger venues like stadiums, arenas, and amphitheaters are thriving. Grosses are up over 20%, largely fueled by premium and VIP ticket packages. But small clubs and theaters, under 2,500, say, are down nearly 9% in gross and 6% in attendance. This signals a widening gap between superstar level touring and the grassroots club level ecosystem where most artists actually develop.
So where are we going with this? The article points out that the mid-year period is not always a reliable predictor of the full year. Major tours from Bruno Mars, BTS, Harry Styles, they launched after the tracking window closed this year, meaning that the second half of 2026 could look a lot different, just as it did in 2025.
Yeah, a couple of points worth mentioning. Live music, of course, is the industry's most reliable revenue stream, but growth has normalized after a post-COVID boom. Also, volume and consistency can outperform pricing. Gaga's record gross, again, came from more shows, not just higher ticket prices.
Right. And another key takeaway is that the middle of the market is under pressure. Small venues are shrinking while top of the market soars, a structural challenge for emerging artists. The next one, ticket price sensitivity, is real. Audiences are pushing back on high prices, and artists and promoters, they're responding.
Yeah, well, data like the box score is essential for understanding market health. The industry uses it to track trends, benchmark performance, and make booking decisions. A lot of important stuff there, but
great
there's
piece
a bunch of shows
on
I
the
want
box
to be
score.
going to.
Yeah.
And, there's just so many choices right now. A lot of great bands on the road.
Yeah.
Well, Jay, I had a chance to talk with our mutual friend Lior Tibon over at Duetti. We were talking about the impact of YouTube and specifically that great video of Justin Bieber from Coachella. Let's listen in. Well, I've been chatting with Lior Tibon. He's the CEO and co-founder of Duetti about that impact of that fantastic Justin Bieber performance from Coachella and the implications of that. And Lior, before we even get started, for folks that don't know about Duetti, tell us a little bit about Duetti.
Sure. Thank you, Mike, and thank you for inviting me to be here today. Duetti is really a new company. We've been around for just over 3 years. And what we do is we acquire music catalogs, and it's been in the press for many years, and so I'm sure your audience is very familiar with the concept. But where we try to be a little bit different and unique is that we really focus on doing catalog deals of all different shapes and sizes, and so we would be gladly doing 7 figures, millions of dollars, but our focus is actually more on catalog deals in the 6 figures and the 5 figures. And as a result of that, we're able to kind of open up that opportunity into a much broader spectrum of artists and songwriters that before that may not have access to that.
Oh, interesting. And in our conversation, we were talking about the music economic report that you guys do annually. And this most recent one that came out, I think, in February, had a lot to do with YouTube. Hence our conversation about Justin Bieber and YouTube. And maybe you can share with our audience a little bit of the insights that you guys have seen from that fantastic video of him just solo playing with the guitar and a looper and there in his boxers. I mean, it was super cool.
Yeah, and there's a lot to say and to kind of think about the performance from a lot of different directions. Where we think we can add maybe a little bit of an interesting angle is to really talk about that performance in the context of highlighting YouTube as being such an interesting and consistent platform in supporting the development of kind of emerging artists. Justin Bieber may be one of the most, if not the most, famous cases for that. But at Duetti, what we do is we really analyze information kind of every day, all day, in order to really come up with insights and patterns that we see. And as you mentioned in our recent report that came out in February, we did highlight that YouTube was the number one platform that was correlated with artists building durable careers. And when we say durable career, we really measure that by consistency of the growth and of the performance kind of over a number of years, right? I think in the industry, especially in the last few years, a lot of people are chasing viral moments, and we're all used to short form video and kind of peaks and troughs. But what was interesting for us to see in the data is that YouTube really stood out as a place where it's the most correlated with an artist's ability to break through in a systematic and sustainable manner over time.
Wow. And do you think it kind of gets short shrift just because it's kind of the OG, it's been around for a long time and it's not necessarily focused on short form video, or are we just kind of overlooking its greatness?
Look, I think it's a combination of a few different things, right? To me, the most important and interesting point on YouTube is that they're doing really an excellent job at really combining a lot of different formats under one kind of platform, right? And so they do have the short format that's growing a lot for them, and we see that. But of course, they started from kind of more full-length video, and they're also making big moves as it comes to really kind of long-form, an hour plus kind of video that you can put in your living room and other contexts and kind of playing at the background perhaps. And so we hypothesized that that's really one of the main reasons why artists can really grow there organically. And in other platforms, the consumption and kind of the interest of the fans can be a little bit more ephemeral, and there's a little bit less of a place to kind of engage with the content in a lot of different ways.
Wow. Well, I certainly spend an inordinate amount of time on YouTube. I find myself, it's amazing how you can just get sucked in, and it's such a great place to discover new music, and I can't get enough of it. Hey, well, tell us, Lior, if folks want to get more information about your music economic report and Duetti, where do they go?
We have a website, duetti.co. Available to everyone. All of our research is there. We're doing a few different research kind of pieces every year, and everything is there, and we would love to get in touch. Awesome. Well, and let's talk again, Lior. What do you say? Sounds good. Our final story, it is from Rachel Scharf over at Billboard. Music-related legislation before Congress right now, with a full list of bills. So the Billboard article by Rachel Scharf tracks all music industry legislation currently moving through the 119th Congress. Yeah. So here's a breakdown of each bill and why it matters.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot because this is really, really important. Let's start with the RAP Act. The RAP Act would limit the use of rap lyrics as criminal evidence in federal prosecutions. High-profile cases include Young Thug, Gunna, Lil Durk. That really brought the issue to the spotlight. Currently in the House Judiciary Committee, backed by the Recording Academy, RIAA, UMG, WMG, and Live Nation.
Yep, let's talk about the No Fakes Act. Targets AI deepfakes by turning a person's digital likeness into intellectual property. Artists could license their likeness and sue anyone who creates unauthorized deepfakes. The most revised bill on this list, introduced back in 2024, it's been updated twice. It now has YouTube and Spotify on board alongside the major labels.
Yeah, we were shocked to report on and talk about the fact that there is no current federal law protecting your name and likeness. There's some, local laws, state laws, but no, it's a patchwork. There's no federal law. And I thought that was super interesting. And it sounds like it's a bipartisan bill, and it feels like it's making real progress. The next one was the American Music Tourism Act, and that directs the Department of Commerce to promote music tourism destinations like Graceland and the Grammy Museum. This one is the furthest along. It passes both the House and Senate in 2025 and is now awaiting a reconciled final version before going to the president for signature.
Right. One, again, we've talked about before, the American Music Fairness Act. This closes a long-standing loophole. AM and FM radio stations currently don't have to pay performance royalties to artists or labels. They only have to do it to songwriters, unlike Spotify or SiriusXM. The American Music Fairness Act would fix that. So don't forget, Gene Simmons himself testified before the Senate on its behalf in December of 2025.
Yeah, and the only other countries where this is true, Mike, is countries like Russia, China, North Korea. We're not in good company. And the last thing I'll say on AMFA is that there are some radio stations that claim it'll put them out of business, but it'll be a few $100s that they'll have to pay every year. This is not a lot of money. The next one is the Main Event Ticketing Act. And what that does is it strengthens enforcement against ticket bots by adding new security and reporting requirements for online ticket sellers. It's also cleared the Senate Commerce Committee and is heading to the Senate floor.
Not to be confused with just the Ticket Act. That requires full price transparency at checkout for concert tickets. Fees and taxes must be shown up front, not revealed at the end. That passed the House again in April of last year and is headed to the Senate floor.
Right. A few more. These are really important. This one is Protecting Outdoor Concerts Act. And that would let the FAA restrict low-flying aircraft over outdoor music festivals, the same protection major sporting events already have. And that's really motivated by safety concerns at Coachella and Stagecoach.
Right. There's also one called the Train Act that would allow musicians to subpoena AI companies to find out if their music was used to train AI models without a license. Still an unsettled legal question with, of course, major label lawsuits ongoing.
Yeah, for sure. The next one is Clear Act, and that would require AI companies to publicly disclose all copyrighted works used in their training data with civil fines for non-compliance, and that was introduced in February of this year.
And the last one is the PWMA, that's the Protect Working Musicians Act. That would let independent musicians collectively negotiate licensing deals with AI companies and streaming platforms, exempting them from antitrust rules that currently prevent this kind of group bargaining. So a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so let's sort of break this down. That's a lot of legislation. But here are the things that you need to know. AI is the biggest theme. 4 of the 10 bills directly address artificial intelligence, deepfakes, training data transparency, indie artist bargaining power. This is the defining legal frontier for your generation in the music business.
Yeah, and of course, royalty gaps still exist. The American Music Fairness Act is a decades-old fight. Terrestrial radio has never paid performance royalties to artists, only to songwriters. That inequity is still unresolved. And as you mentioned, Jay, we are very few amongst the rest of the world in this particular area that are doing it like this, and it's terrible.
That's right. And a couple other points, from this article, that ticketing reform has real momentum right now. Both the Main Act and the Ticket Act, they've cleared significant committee hurdles. So fans and artists alike have pushed hard on this issue after high-profile ticketing disasters.
Yeah, and whenever you're talking about any of these bills, bipartisan support matters. Unlike most policy areas, music legislation tends to attract both Republican and Democratic sponsors. The industry's ability to build coalitions across party lines is a real strategic asset.
Yeah, it really is. And finally, industry organizations carry enormous weight. The Recording Academy, RIAA, NMPA, they appear on almost every one of these bills. Understanding how these organizations lobby Congress is really essential to understanding how music policy actually gets made.
No, absolutely. Since we've been doing the podcast too, it's given me an opportunity to kind of track these a lot more than I used to. And, we just keep talking about these things over and over again. First of all, it takes a long time for them to get just to the floor for the vote. But there's a lot of these things have been talked about for decades. And so it's been fascinating to get
and it feels like we're really making progress. It feels good.
I hope so. I got my fingers crossed. All right. Hey, it's time to wrap up the show. Want to thank our good friends over at Hypebot and Bandsintown, our sponsors. We really appreciate all of their participation and helping us get the show out every week. And by the way, if you'd like to reach our audience, you can reach out to us at partnerships@yourmorning.coffee. By the way, if you like the show, please just tell one friend. Jay and I would certainly appreciate that. And in case you're wondering, music was by our friends, the Licorice Quartet. Very, very cool stuff. So on behalf of my good friend Jay Gilbert, I'm Mike Etchart. Thanks for listening in, and we'll be back next week on the Your Morning Coffee Podcast.
You've been listening to Your Morning Coffee, the weekly music news program for the new music business. Join Jay Gilbert and Mike Etchart next time for the digital music news you need to know.